Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. We are a day away from Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 4. And, what's better than just to do a little Star Wars tier list? I'm going to show you guys my favorite of all time Star Wars movies and TV shows and just what I think overall about Star Wars movies and TV. Now, I wish there was like books and comics in here because the Darth Vader comics are very good. The Thrawn book is very good by Timothy Zahn. Bunch of other stuff in here. There was only one thing that I have not seen, and I've only seen like bits and pieces, which is Resistance. So I'm going to put it in Youngling and Master. So yeah, Star Wars Resistance is the only thing I haven't seen, so I'm just going to put that already in Youngling. So, what are my thoughts on Star Wars, pretty much? What are my thoughts? So, let's start off with the first one. Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope. Arguably, the best Star Wars film out there. Personally, for me, no. But it is a great movie, and it really sets up so much, especially in 1977, with just setting up the Clone Wars, setting up, Ben and Obi-Wan during, the Clone Wars and setting up Leia and Bail, or Leia's father, Bail, and Obi-Wan being friends during the Clone Wars. It sets up Vader in a perfect way, and Vader and Obi-Wan, and it kind of hints towards certain things, and obviously in 1977, nobody would know. But when you watch it back now with the view of everything that I know about Star Wars, you're like, damn, Lucas really knows what he's doing. And he may not have had like this whole plan set out, but he had some sort of plan, especially for the originals and especially for somewhat of the prequels. He did retcon certain things and change things, but I mean, probably my favorite moments in all of Episode 4. Obviously, the trench run is great. Them going on the Death Star is exciting. The lightsaber fight is probably one of the weakest in the whole franchise. But there's meaning behind it. There's a lot of meaning behind it, and even with after the Obi-Wan show, there is definitely a lot of meaning after that. When I was last with you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. Only master of evil doth. So yeah, I'm gonna put Episode 4 as a council member. A lot of people would probably say it should be S tier. I think A fits well. I think A is perfect for Star Wars. Right down. Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now, Attack of the Clones. Probably one of the more hated Star Wars films. Me personally, I am a prequel lover. I'm a prequel sympathizer. I love thy prequels. They are great stuff. Personally, I do enjoy them quite a bit. No doubt about it. And I'm going to put Episode 2. I'm going to put it at night. I think that's fair. It's not the most perfect movie, but it's not the worst either. It's not horrible. I think there's a lot of enjoyable moments. I mean, the Battle of Geonosis was long, but fire as fuck. Camino, Obi-Wan. I wish we got a little more of Obi-Wan doing, like, all this kind of secret searching around, going to Camino, going to Geonosis, it's just a lot of cool stuff. And Count Dooku getting introduced, really cool. Learning about the clones and what the Clone Wars actually is going to be. And it's these literal clones. And, yeah. I mean, a lot of people hate Anakin, or Hayden Christensen's acting in this. I think it's perfect. I think it's exactly what Anakin is. Like a young Anakin at this point. And it's what George Lucas wanted. I love his awkward, friendship / relationship with Padme. I love the atmosphere in this movie. I love the music in this movie. Like the soundtrack, John Williams, great. Across the Stars. I mean, one of the best Star Wars, scores of all time. And there's just a lot to like. Yes, there's some cringy lines, and the green screen is pretty shitty, but it's what it was at its time, and I still think it's an enjoyable film, and I can always go back and watch it. Star Wars Rebels. Yes, Star Wars Rebels. What do you guys think? I think it's an S tier Grandmaster. I think Star Wars Rebels is peak Star Wars, along with other things that we'll see, whatever is in S tier. But I think Rebels is peak. Yes, there's some boring episodes and it kind of drags on here and there, but the characters are great. The characters build out so much. At first, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to like these characters. But once it builds on, you really learn to understand Ezra and just what he wants. He just wants to bring justice for his family, bring justice for Lothal, save his friends, and maybe just become a Jedi. You know, Kanan, Caleb Dune. I mean, great character, great character. Like Seaman, Bad Batch was also cool. I guess Bad Batch is not on this list, so I'll comment about Bad Batch. But Rebels, I mean, there's some of the best Star Wars moments in all of Star Wars. I mean, Twilight of the Apprentice, you know, the finale, the literal ending of the show is some of the most beautiful writing, Star Wars storytelling. You know, finding out after the Battle of Endor, you know, everybody's still alive, they're still out there. Ezra's still out there, and Ahsoka and the gang need to go find him, and that's what we'll see in the Ahsoka TV show, which me personally am super, super, super excited for. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that. Yes, Rebels, Grandmaster, S tier, some great Star Wars. Now on to Return of the Jedi, or Revenge of the Jedi. Great movie. I mean, I think it's a great just, you know, climactic conclusion to a really good trilogy back in the 80s or late 70s, early 80s. I mean, everybody at that time after Empire was like, what the fuck is he actually Luke's father? And then you get the confirmation after waiting so long that yes, he is the father. And, you know, Luke can redeem his father, or can he? The Emperor, we finally see the Emperor in person. Ian McDermott's great. You know, Luke is more powerful. He's pretty much a full Jedi Master at this point, almost, after he defeats Vader. I should say. I mean, he defeats Vader, and then Palpatine comes in, then Vader redeems himself. And for a character like Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker, it's hard to redeem yourself, especially after killing a bunch of kids and women and just a bunch of people. I think pretty much Vader saving the galaxy is the biggest redemption there is. It really is. I mean, he saved the galaxy from Emperor. Because if the Emperor pretty much killed Luke there and Vader didn't stop him, Palpatine was going to, you know, take over the galaxy and pretty much probably destroy everything. But I mean, there's a what if scenario you could connect to that, because Ahsoka's still around. What would Ahsoka do? What would Ahsoka do? And what was she doing during this time? We don't know. I hope we do know and find out in the Ahsoka show. That'd be really cool. But I think I'm gonna put Return of the Jedi at Council Member. I think it's an A tier Star Wars movie. Now, I will say, I do not hate any of the Star Wars movies. I have problems with some of them, which we'll get into. But I don't think I would say I necessarily hate the movies, because there's something in each movie and TV show that I do enjoy quite a bit. Okay, here's S tier. Sorry, I just got to put it there. Revenge of the Sith, out of everything in Star Wars, is the greatest thing George Lucas has created to this day, and Disney. Everything about the movie, from top to bottom, beginning to end, is some of the best, or is the best Star Wars we have ever seen. You know, it sets up everything. Order 66 is done very perfectly. You know, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan is great. Hayden in this movie comes full-fledged, full circle, fucking amazing. Order 66 is insane. One of the most terrifying but beautifully done moments in all of cinema. It's a bad moment, but it's beautifully done and well done. The final fight on Mustafar is arguably the best. I think Return of the Jedi has the best lightsaber fight when it comes to, you know, meaning, when it comes to the whole story. and just the stakes in Return of the Jedi. And in Revenge of the Sith, we mostly know the stakes. We know how it's going to end, but it's still so emotional. And the ending of, you were my brother, Anakin. I loved you. I hate you. Said you would destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. Which is a great line because it ties into Obi-Wan a little bit with Leia asking Obi-Wan, like, what is the Force? What does it feel like? And it feels like, when it's dark and you turn a light on and you feel that's what it feels like. I mean, it's good. It's a good line. It's a good line, and it ties in, like, leaving the Force in darkness because of what Anakin has done, destroying the Jedi Order. But Revenge of the Sith, and music-wise, I mean, I could talk about this movie for hours, guys. I could literally talk about this movie for the whole runtime of that movie, maybe even longer. And also the book of this movie that George Lucas has written, and he hasn't written, but he's written off, and he says it's good, is amazing. There's so much more in the novel, and it makes certain things make sense. And if you guys haven't read it, I would suggest reading it. It's been a long time since I've read it. I think I read it in like grade school, maybe middle school, in the library because it was there. But yeah, Revenge of the Sith, great stuff. Now, Rogue One. Is it the best thing Disney has done? No. But I still think it is a solid, addition with, Disney taking over Star Wars. And it's probably one of the best things. It's the best thing we've seen with Darth Vader besides what we've seen in Obi-Wan. That ending scene alone is some of the best stuff. But I'm going to put it in Master because we kind of know what's going on. I do enjoy the characters, but I don't love the characters. I think it's a fitting end for them. And I think Jen and everybody, I think they did what they needed to do, and they sacrificed themselves. And I'm excited to watch Andor, the show, Diego Luna's character. I think Andor is going to really be good and really help his character out and help just filling in that gap. Like 5 years before Rogue One, so we get a lot of time to just see what's going on with the Empire in depth in the underworld and shit like that, which I think is really cool. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say about Rogue One. I think it's beautifully well done. It's a very artistic film, and I think it is truly one of the best Disney Star Wars movies that's come out. Now we have Solo. Solo, I've watched, I think 2 times. I think I've watched Solo 2 times. Do I hate it? No. Do I love it? No. But do I enjoy it for what it is? Yes. I will say the Darth Maul scene at the end is fire. I do find it weird that he's, they're not with each other, and he just stands up, grabs his lightsaber, and turns it on for really no reason. I don't know why he did that, but I really enjoy Kira, and I really enjoy the Crimson Dawn and seeing them in live action, which is really cool. And what they can do with Maul, because Maul is dead. Twin Sons episode Rebels, probably the best Rebels episode besides Twilight of the Apprentice and the finale, and Kanan's death episode, which was a great and sad episode. I think they could really do a story with Maul and the Crimson Dawn during this time. Maybe not add in Solo, but you can add in maybe somebody like Lando or whoever else around this time period, because Maul's doing his thing. Hondo. I wish Hondo would have showed up in the show or in the movie. It would have been sick. But I think Solo is a night. I think it's a fun movie. I think Alden Ehrenreich does good as Han Solo. Now, I don't like the thing that Kathleen Kennedy said recently about Alden Ehrenreich not they think it was a mistake to recast legacy characters, which, yes, I agree with to a certain extent, but with this, they did it well. I think Donald Glover as Lando is literally perfect. I think that is perfect. I think you can do that with Luke Skywalker and Sebastian Stan, because you can't do CGI recreations with a double all the time. It's just not going to work, especially in a full-fledged show or in a full-fledged movie. You have to have somebody doing the acting. You have to have somebody doing things and talking and using facial features and using their emotions, and like not everything can be AI and CGI. Which I do want to see a Top Gun because I heard there's not a lot of CGI in that, and I've heard Top Gun is amazing. I have no nostalgia for Top Gun. Like I didn't, and I mean, I wouldn't say I don't enjoy the first one. I just don't. I don't care. Like it's not like I don't know. Tom Cruise is a great actor. He does great stuff. He's just a little bit of a weirdo outside of acting. The Clone Wars movie, I'm gonna put that in Youngling because that shit's dog meat compared to everything else in Clone Wars. I'm not even gonna talk about it. I mean, there's cool things about it. I mean, the voice acting is great, but the animation is early 2008. It's really bad. Ahsoka's annoying, but I still love Ahsoka, and that's when we get into the Clone Wars, which is Grandmaster S tier. It is above Rebels. Some of the best Star Wars there is, literally. Seasons 1 through 6 are great, but season 7, dude, you introduced yourself to the Bad Batch. We're getting closer to Order 66. Like, you feel it. You feel what's going on. And, you know, the Siege of Mandalore, it fits in perfectly with Revenge of the Sith. There's literally scenes from Revenge of the Sith in this, which are insane to me and amazing. The Umbara arc, probably the best arc besides the Mortis arc. Like if you're a fan of Star Wars and you may like certain things over the other, like say you like droids more than anything, you get a shit ton of droid stuff in this. If you like Gungans and Jar Jar, you get that. If you want to learn more about the Force and the lore and the just like what's going on with the Force, you learn that. If you love war crimes, if you love clones committing war crimes, this is for you. I mean, the Clone Wars is truly some of the best storytelling and best Star Wars there is, and it's a fucking kids show. It's not. There's a lot of death. There's a lot of really dark scenes, especially with Anakin, and like it's awesome stuff. It truly is some of the best. I love it so much. So much. Now, Empire Strikes Back. I mean, S tier. Is it better than Clone Wars? I mean, yeah. Is it better than Revenge of the Sith? No. I think Empire is one of the best sequels of all time. I heard Top Gun Maverick is one of the best sequels of all time, but Empire Strikes Back is one of the best sequels of all time. The the first one is just like your average, adventure story. Everything goes well most of the time, besides Obi-Wan, the wizard, dying. This one, it starts off and the Empire's fucking on their shit. Luke's getting destroyed by fucking Tauntauns, and shit goes down in this movie. Most of these characters are at their lowest point in this movie, and then it brings them back up and brings them back down, and then that's when we get to Return of the Jedi, and everything concludes in a great way. But this, I mean, you learn that Vader is Anakin Skywalker, literally Luke's father. And what's funny about it is I've never had a genuine, like, oh my god, reaction to any of the Star Wars movies besides, like, Rogue One and, like, the Clone Wars that I can remember. Because coming out of the womb, I feel like I lived Star Wars. Like, I don't remember watching Star Wars for the first time. I vividly remember watching Revenge of the Sith in the theater for the first time. I have one moment in the theater that I remember, and it was during the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight. But other than that, I mean, I just grew up with Star Wars. I grew up with Lord of the Rings, and none of these things were ever shocking to me. So I kind of had to fabricate my excitement sometimes. But that doesn't change how great these films are and how just amazing they are in the Star Wars universe. I mean, Vader in this film is so much good. It's so much better. Han and Leia, their dynamic is amazing, and them going through, the asteroid field and going into that fucking monster and an asteroid, and Luke and Yoda on Dagobah and him trying to become a Jedi, and it seems like he can't, and he goes into that cave and sees himself in Vader and just sets so much up, and it truly is one of the best movies of all time. I still think Revenge of the Sith is better, though. Now we're getting into maybe some would call the mid-pack. The Force Awakens. I think out of the sequel trilogy, I'm going to do these three. The Force Awakens is the best, and I'm going to put it in Master. Because it does bring you back into Star Wars if you do feel like you're in this world. And I appreciate J.J. Abrams for this fact. And it sets up so much to be torn down by The Last Jedi. Force Awakens, I'll just say, John Williams did a great job with the score. Added Rey's theme, which I love. Kylo Ren's theme. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. And Han Solo back. Leia. Barely see Luke until the end. And it leaves you off on a literal cliffhanger. But I think The Force Awakens is solid. It's a solid entry. And I'm going to put it at Master. But we get to The Last Jedi, which I'm going to put at Padawan. I don't know. Every single time I rewatch this movie, I don't like it more and more. I think there's still things enjoyable about it. Like the Luke and Rey kind of dynamic a little bit. I do enjoy. I don't think Luke is a bad character in this. I just don't like the way he went. I would have loved to see kind of like not 30 years post episode 6. I would love to see like 10 years in his prime. I get that's not what we're in right now. In this moment for The Last Jedi, he's old and he seems like he failed. He's like Ben Kenobi after 10 years after Order 66, but I mean, I don't know. I just think it was lazy writing per se. I think the score kind of sucks, unfortunately. It's just a lot of reused Star Wars songs, which is fine because it does sound good. You hear the Trench Run theme in there and you hear some other things, but other than that, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to hate on it, but I mean, the Canto Bite scene is also just, just parts of the movie is just boring and I don't care about it whatsoever. And I would love to not see Rian Johnson make another Star Wars movie. I think I would be okay with him not doing that. And then we got The Rise of Skywalker, which I'll put in Youngling, because it makes no sense. Like I said, there's cool moments in the movie, but it doesn't make any sense. It makes zero sense. The best thing about the whole trilogy was Kylo Ren and Rey. I personally don't think Rey is a Mary Sue. I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those people who thinks Disney is trying to force feminism and SJW things into Star Wars. That's not why I don't like these movies. I just don't think they're good Star Wars movies. And maybe that's just me not understanding them, I guess. I don't know. But when you have lines like, somehow Palpatine returned, no. Even George Lucas would explain how he returned. And in this, they barely explain it. Now, I get J.J. Abrams had to fix the problems of The Last Jedi in a 2.5-hour film, which is fairly hard. He pretty much made 2 films and 1 in this movie. And there's a lot. It's very convoluted. There's a lot of just confusing shit. And then the final battle is cool, but it's so stupid. I mean, you have these fucking, like, horse thingies running on, or like they're fighting on top of a fucking Star Destroyer. Like, why? I think Finn was terribly done. I think they had a good of like what they wanted to do for Finn, and I think him becoming a Jedi, by them never doing that and just completely just putting him in the side and not really just having much of a story for him. I mean, even John Boyega said himself, like, they fucked his character up. And his character could have been so much better. And that could be partially Disney's doing, Lucasfilm's doing, Kathleen Kennedy's doing, of being probably extremely racist, because we know corporations and the white rich men at the top of them who really don't care about what they're putting out there, but they want, I don't know. It's kind of goofy. I wish Finn would have became a Jedi, or they kind of hinted towards it, but it didn't really work out. That's why I think you should have had J.J. Abrams. As much as I don't love him as a director and writer, I don't like his writing. I think his directing is okay. but I don't think he's a good writer. Which I can't say much. I'm not a fucking writer, but I mean, everything I've seen him besides like Super 8, which I really enjoy, and maybe the first Star Trek movie. Other than that, everything else is fairly dog shit. And besides Lost, because Lost is one of the greatest shows of all time, so I can't hate on that. But I mean, I don't know. If he would have been there through episodes 7, 8, and 9, and they would have had a story. That's my biggest problem with the sequel trilogy. Is there's no overarching story. It's just 3 stories each that don't really tie into each other. They kind of do and they kind of don't, and it's lazy. It's lazy writing. And like I said, there's good things about the sequel trilogy, but there's a lot of bad things that I just don't like at all. And I don't rewatch them that much because I just don't enjoy them. I do understand that, yes, they are canon, but I mean, where we're at in the Star Wars universe right now when it comes to content, I'm gonna consider, I kind of block out that period. You got Return of the Jedi, and then you have that whole 30-year period before The Force Awakens. So there's so much stories you can tell, and then you have the World Between Worlds, which Dave Filoni might say, "Hey, let's delete all that," which I would be okay with. All right, sorry about my rant on the sequel trilogy. Let's get to Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I'm gonna put it in night. I think Episode 2 is better, and I think Solo is better. But I think I'm going to put it above Solo just for the lightsaber fight, Duel of the Fates. I mean, it is the most important fight in all of Star Wars. Don't say it's not in the comments, because Dave Filoni has said himself that Duel of the Fates is the most important, confrontation in all of Star Wars. Duel of the Fates is the fate of Anakin Skywalker, is the fate of this child, because if Qui-Gon doesn't die, and if Maul, I guess, dies, but Qui-Gon doesn't, this kid Anakin is going to become a Jedi, and it's not going to go the bad way, the bad route. And it's probably not going to mean he's being the chosen one. With his master dying and Obi-Wan having to take over, everything gets set in place for Anakin. Everything. And it is the literal Duel of the Fates. Qui-Gon's great in it. I think Jake Lloyd is fantastic as a young Annie. I think Ewan McGregor's great. I used to hate the politics in Star Wars. Now I love the politics in Star Wars because I just enjoy politics in general. So I can get down with some politics in space, which I'm completely fine with. But that's all I got really much to say about Episode 1. Let's get into the final one, which we still have the Book of Boba Fett and Bad Batch, but they're not on this, but I will talk about those. So I'm going to put The Mandalorian Seasons 1 and 2 at Grandmaster. Am I going to put it above Rebels? No. But I think it is an S-tier show. Din Djarin is fantastic. All the characters are fantastic. Grogu is great. We finally get to see a live-action Ahsoka, live-action Bo-Katan, live-action Death Watch, live-action Luke Skywalker. I mean, what can you not beat about this show? It's just some of the best shit that Disney has come out with. And, I mean, props to Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. And I just cannot wait to see what else they do for Star Wars and the future of Star Wars. Because, I mean, it's just fantastic stuff. It truly is. And I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, I just love The Mandalorian. I enjoyed it each week that it would release. But yeah. That is my tier list. Now, let's talk about Book of Boba Fett real quick. I think Book of Boba Fett would probably go into... I think it would be B tier. I think there's some S tier moments, and I think there's some really bad moments. But overall, I think the show was enjoyable. I mean, that episode 6 with Luke and Ahsoka, and that flashback to Order 66, Grogu and Luke together, Luke and Ahsoka together. I mean, that is some of the best shit we have ever seen. And I couldn't believe we saw it. And I think it would be a solid spot in Master or B tier. And then Bad Batch I think would also be in probably B tier. I do enjoy Bad Batch quite a bit. But yeah, that is my Star Wars tier list. Let me know what your guys' favorite Star Wars films are and TV shows down in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on twitch.tv/itsdev. Get ready for Obi-Wan tomorrow and Miss Marvel tomorrow. And then also the Modern Warfare 2 reveal trailer tomorrow, which will be out probably later into the day. And then Obi-Wan and Miss Marvel will be out as early as I possibly can. And then Thursday, we'll have a new series, Throwback Thursdays, with Freaks and Geeks. Freaks and Geeks, I'm going back into that. I haven't watched it in years, and I would love to rewatch it. And episode 1 will be out on Thursday at 7 a.m. And yeah, guys, it's been a fun one. Hope you guys enjoyed. My name is Dev, guys, and we'll see you later.